Speculation about Iran becoming nuclear is on the rise as Trump once again claims he has destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities and even issues warnings to Russia. The Financial Times has reported on a secret trip by Iran's nuclear team to Russia, and Ali Larijani, who has recently become the secretary of the Islamic Republic Security Council, had previously met with Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Hello and welcome to Kaba 10. I am Shakila Shams, and together with my colleague Mohabate Shadzarir, we are bringing you this news. Hello Zarir. While diplomacy between Iran and Russia is close to the West, what's the latest news?
Yes, Shams' diplomacy has still hit a big wall that is not going to be removed in any way these days, and all that is being talked about is tension and preparation for conflicts and these issues. Although in the Middle East the situation remains just as it was. In Gaza, the issue is still hot. The war in Ukraine is still ongoing. Verbal tensions between the US and Moscow over nuclear programs and the possibility of nuclear war are still high. And meanwhile, there are speculations and analyses about the possibility of Iran moving toward nuclear weapons, which is a major concern for Western countries, including the US. Just yesterday, when the foreign ministers of European countries spoke with each other, they pledged to one another that they would not allow Iran to possess nuclear weapons. In the same context, the British newspaper Financial Times has revealed an incident reporting that over the past year, from August last year to this year, there have been several secret trips from Iran to Russia regarding nuclear matters and nuclear programs. The most recent event related to these trips was Mr. Larijani's visit to Moscow. And according to the Financial Times, among the centers working in the field of nuclear technology are the Sepan Center and another center called Damavan Tech. These two companies or scientific research centers, which are apparently even sanctioned by Europe, are sanctioned because their activities are not only in the nuclear field, but specifically related to nuclear weapons. These are a team of scientists who were part of Iran's nuclear team and are well-known figures. They secretly traveled to Russia and held meetings there. And alongside this, we also see that Donald Trump just yesterday once again emphasized that they targeted and destroyed Iran's nuclear program. Otherwise, Iran was only 2 months away from building a nuclear weapon. And of course, all these statements and even the Financial Times report indicate, though to what extent Iran confirms or denies their validity is still unclear, but they do show that there have been movements in Iran toward acquiring nuclear weapons. Even now, it seems that some other media outlets in Iran have published reports suggesting that this 408 kilograms of enriched uranium has been transferred to an unknown location and is being used in the process of making nuclear weapons with enrichment levels above 60%. And now, the nuclear team that has gone to Russia, the Financial Times report mentioned that they were seeking a substance called tritium, which is an element used in the production of nuclear warheads in isotopes.
Zarir, what are the details of the secret trip of nuclear scientists to Iran?
Well, apparently about a year ago, in August of last year, the nuclear scientists, on behalf of the same two companies I mentioned at the beginning, went there with the aim of purchasing and obtaining tritium and uranium. It seems they were also trying to pave the way for the Russian nuclear technology team to provide them with consultation. Of course, Russia also has a nuclear technology team based in Iran itself. There is cooperation in this field in scientific areas and apparently for the purpose of a peaceful nuclear program. However, the Financial Times is focusing on the fact that the materials the nuclear scientists sought in Russia were intended for building nuclear weapons. And of course, we have also witnessed the recent interactions between Russia and Iran following the 12-day war. In this regard, the very selection of Mr. Larijani and even the establishment of the Defense Council all indicate preparations for moving toward nuclear weapons. And of course, at the same time, the issue of the nuclear program is also being raised as a threat by Europe within the framework of the snapback mechanism.
Yesterday, The Telegraph also published reports about Iran. Was it related to Iran's nuclear program?
Yes, exactly. The Telegraph newspaper reported that Iran's Revolutionary Guard has asked the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan for a list known as the Death List or Media Massacre List, which includes 25,000 Afghan citizens who had cooperated with Britain, and now some of them are in Iran. Apparently, Iran has requested Afghanistan to hand over this list to them. Why? They believe that some MI6 spies or agents of the British intelligence service are among these citizens or migrants. They want to arrest them. Now let's get to how this relates to your question. Why do they want to arrest them? Because in the ongoing negotiations, which although according to Mr. Ved Fool are still continuing indirectly, if they are to discuss the snapback mechanism with the European Troika or the cooperation between the agency and Iran, or if negotiations with the US are to resume. According to the Telegraph newspaper, Iran wants to use these migrants as a tool and leverage against the West, especially the United Kingdom. But the Islamic Emirate rejected this, and in a conversation I personally had yesterday with Mr. Zabiullah Mujahid, the spokesperson for the Islamic Emirate, when I asked him this question, he responded by saying that such a thing is not true. We have no need for this report, nor do we need to present it, and this is something some people do to create fear and intimidation among those who have gone to Europe or are planning to go to Europe. And even though the Islamic Emirate has denied it, if such a thing does exist, it shows that efforts by both Russia and Iran, as well as their allies and rivals in Europe, are ongoing to bargain in negotiations that may or may not be influenced, or to see what leverage they can have at their disposal as pressure tools.
Apparently, structural changes in the leadership of Iran's security apparatus are still ongoing. Is Iran preparing for war or for negotiations?
While Iran is making statements about diplomacy, over the past 2 weeks we have consistently witnessed movements and activities by Iran's military apparatus and their remarks about being ready for war. Regarding the nuclear program, which is supposed to be the subject of negotiations and diplomacy, as you asked, they haven't shown any new signs themselves recently. For example, the fate of the enriched uranium is still unclear. The plan that was approved by the parliament will not allow inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency to come and monitor the nuclear program. And Iran has also rejected the 6-month deadline that the Troika had requested for not activating the snapback mechanism. So Iran's preparations are increasingly leaning toward war. And this same Mr. Ali Larijani, who has become the advisor or secretary of Iran's National Security Council, was previously also the secretary of Iran's National Security Council. Mr. Larijani recently said that even Israel contacted me and asked me to leave Iran or step down from the system. And while during the war, alongside Mr. Shamkhani, Mr. Ali Larijani was also one of the prominent figures. And Mr. Ali Larijani is one of those individuals who is close to Moscow and is highly trusted by the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic. He is someone whom some Western media outlets consider a hardliner when it comes to the West. And now, his reappointment as Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council